The night sky above Earth looked peaceful, but in orbit something new appeared. A strange object slipped out of the void of space. It was not a meteor, not a satellite, and not a piece of human technology. It was smooth, dark, and shaped like a perfect sphere. It did not shine, but it pulsed with a dim light, like a heartbeat. The people of Earth did not see it yet. But across the galaxy, thousands of alien eyes turned toward it. The probe had arrived. The probe carried no weapons. It had no crew. It was small, silent, and patient. Yet every empire in the galaxy knew its meaning. This was the Council's tool, the first step of contact. Wherever the probe appeared, it asked one question. Civilizations that answered weakly were placed under control. Civilizations that stayed silent were watched, tested, and sometimes erased. This time, the probe faced a young blue planet called Earth. It opened its channels and spoke in a voice that was not a voice. It spoke in the language of math, physics, and pure thought. The message was simple: identify yourselves. It was the same line spoken to 100 other worlds before. And every alien race watching expected the same kind of answer. Some thought Earth would beg for safety. Others thought Earth would declare loyalty. Some even believed Earth might stay silent out of fear. But humans were not like other races. Their history was filled with struggle, pain, and survival. The message from Earth did not come quickly. For 3 days, the probe waited, circling above the planet. On the 4th day, the first human signal was received. It was not a song. It was not a cry. It was a statement. The probe translated the signal and sent it across the galaxy. And when the Council read Earth's words, silence spread across their chambers. Earth's message was calm, but it was not humble. It began with respect, but it ended with something else, something dangerous. The humans had written, "We hear you. We understand your probe. But know this, we are not children. We are not prey. We are survivors. We do not kneel. If you come to test us, then you will be tested too." The words were short, yet the weight behind them was heavy. In the council chamber, alien voices rose in alarm. This was not the answer they wanted. Every empire had warned Earth not to be reckless, not to be arrogant. But Earth's words carried no fear. Some said the humans were foolish. Some said the humans were brave. A few whispered that the humans might know more than they should. For in their message were strange hints, hints of war, struggle, and knowledge of death. Back on Earth, the governments and scientists celebrated quietly. They knew the galaxy was listening, and they wanted to show strength. They remembered their history, wars that almost ended them, disasters that nearly erased them, struggles that pushed them to adapt. Humanity's story was not one of peace, but one of survival. That was the message they had sent, wrapped in simple words. They wanted the galaxy to know that humans were not weak, and never would be. The probe received the message and sent back its own question. Do you seek peace? It was a test, a second measure of Earth's heart. The humans took time again, longer this time. They spoke together, nations sharing voices for the first time in history. And finally, they answered. Their reply was sent, and again the probe carried it out into the stars. We seek peace, but we are ready for war. We respect those who respect us. But if you come with chains, you will leave with scars. When the council heard this, the silence grew colder. The probe had done its task. It had asked the questions. It had delivered the answers. But this time, the answers carried a fire inside them. Fire was something the galaxy did not want from Earth. Fire was dangerous. Fire spread. And the humans had shown that they carried it in their words, in their history, in their very being. The probe's light dimmed as it prepared to leave Earth's orbit. Its mission was complete. But before it vanished into the void, it pulsed one last time, as if listening, as if waiting for something more. And then, a final unexpected signal came from Earth. It was not sent by governments, nor by scientists. It was sent by a single human, using a simple radio. The signal was weak, but the probe heard it. The words were not official. They were not careful. They were raw and filled with human spirit. If you are out there, watching us, know this. We are ready. We will never bow. The probe carried that signal too. And when the council heard it, fear touched even the bravest among them. Because this was not the answer of a desperate world. It was the voice of a species that had been forged in fire, a species that was not afraid of the dark. As the probe disappeared into the endless night, the galaxy realized something it had never felt before from a young race. Humanity's first answer was not what they wanted. It was something else, something dangerous, something that whispered of storms yet to come. And the galaxy began to wonder, had they made a mistake by asking the question at all? The council chamber was vast, floating at the center of a hollow star. Its walls glowed with a soft golden light, and its air hummed with the sound of 1,000 voices. Representatives of many alien races sat in high seats carved from crystal and stone. They had seen countless new civilizations before. They had heard many first answers. But never had a young world spoken the way Earth had spoken. The words of humanity echoed through the chamber, heavy and sharp. The council could not ignore them. The lead speaker, a tall being of silver skin and 4 arms, called for silence. The humans have answered. We must decide what their answer means. His voice was calm, but his eyes shifted nervously. Across from him, a smaller alien with insect-like wings hissed. Their words are full of defiance. They are dangerous. They should be contained before they rise. Other voices joined in, each one louder than the last. One race argued that Earth was still too young to threaten anyone. Another insisted that young species often grew into monsters if not guided. A third voice, deep and booming, warned that humanity's message was not just bold, but calculated. They spoke as if they have already studied us. How could they know what to say unless they understand the dangers of this galaxy? The chamber grew uneasy. Hidden behind the debates, a group of analysts replayed Earth's reply over and over. They slowed it down. They measured every pause, every phrase. And what they discovered was unsettling. The message contained patterns that matched survival codes, signals used by older species during wartime. Earth had never been part of the Council. Earth had never fought a galactic war. Yet their words carried the same tone, the same weight, as if they knew. The analysts reported to the Council. Either the humans are reckless, or they are experienced in ways we do not understand. The chamber fell into silence again. Experienced. That was impossible. Earth was only a young world, barely reaching the stars. It should not have such knowledge. Unless, whispered a quiet voice, Earth had survived things that even the galaxy could not imagine. The insect-winged representative slammed his claws on the table. They are a threat. We must act before they spread. We must burn this fire before it grows. His words carried fear, but also hunger. His people had destroyed other young civilizations before, carving them apart before they could rise. Now, some in the chamber wondered if he spoke out of wisdom, or out of greed. Another voice spoke, softer, from the shadows. It belonged to an ancient race with eyes like dark suns. You do not understand. Humans are not like others. Look deeper at their history. Every great war they fought was against themselves. Every disaster they endured without outside help. A species that fights its own kind for thousands of years and still survives, that is not weakness. That is something else. That is preparation. A hush fell over the chamber. For the first time, the council felt a strange new sensation, a kind of unease they rarely experienced. They had dealt with aggressive species before. But this was different. Humanity's words were not empty pride. They were shaped by blood, by suffering, by endless trial. The council realized that Earth's answer was not a performance. It was the truth of their existence. Still, many resisted the idea. A blue-scaled ambassador rose, his voice sharp. We cannot allow them to rise unchecked. If they are truly dangerous, then it is our duty to act before their fire spreads across the stars. The Council was built to protect the galaxy. Are we now too afraid to do our duty? His words found support among others who feared humanity. Yet a smaller group resisted. They asked for respect, said one soft-spoken voice. And they offered peace, but only if peace was given in return. Is that not what we ask of every new species? Are we not the hypocrites if we punish them for honesty? The debate dragged on for hours. The council split into factions, some demanding war, others urging caution, a few suggesting silence. But the more they argued, the clearer one thing became: Earth had unsettled them all. In the back of the chamber, hidden from most, a watcher sat in silence. He belonged to no single empire. His duty was only to observe and record. He wrote a single line in his report: "The humans speak as if they already know us. That is why we fear them." He did not share it aloud, but he knew it was the truth. The council finally agreed on one action. A second probe would be sent. This one would not only ask questions, but also scan Earth secretly. They wanted to test humanity again. They wanted to peel away the mask and see if the humans were bluffing. The vote was close, but in the end, the order was given. The meeting ended, but the chamber did not feel calm. Instead, it felt heavy, like the air before a storm. As the delegates left, whispers filled the golden hall. Some whispered of war, others of opportunity, others of fear. But all agreed on one thing: Earth had answered differently than any race before them. The question now was not whether Earth was dangerous. The question was how dangerous Earth truly was. As the great hall emptied, the ancient race with eyes like dark suns lingered a moment longer. He spoke quietly to himself, his words almost lost in the echo. We should not have asked. We should not have knocked on their door. For sometimes, the door does not lead to a child's room, but to a sleeping giant. Then he left, leaving the golden chamber in silence. The council's decision was made, and the second probe was built in secret. Unlike the first, this one was not a simple messenger. It carried hidden scanners, cloaked sensors, and devices that could study Earth's atmosphere, defenses, and even human technology. It was made from materials that no young world could detect. At least, that was what the council believed. When the probe left its hidden dock and slipped into the void, many in the chamber felt relieved. They told themselves the humans would never notice. They told themselves the humans were bold only because they had never been truly seen. The probe traveled silently across the endless black, entering the solar system without a sound. It hid itself in the shadow of asteroids, sliding closer, watching, measuring. To the council, it was invisible. But to Earth it was not. The humans were already listening. They had learned long ago to search the skies, to watch for signs of threat. Their instruments were smaller than the galaxies, their reach shorter, but their eyes were sharp, and their minds sharper still. On the third day of the probe's presence, Earth caught it. The humans did not announce their discovery to the world. They did not panic. Instead, they prepared their reply. The second probe, thinking itself unseen, sent its questions. Do you have weapons? Do you have fleets? Do you have colonies beyond this system? The messages were not spoken aloud, but carried in encrypted pulses. The council thought the humans would never recognize them. Yet the humans answered. Their signal reached the probe with precision, striking through the silence like a knife. The message was short, but its meaning was vast. We see you. Your vessel hides in the dark behind stone. It scans us, but we scan you too. Do not send more eyes. We do not welcome spies. The probe trembled with its data. For the first time in history, a young species had not only detected a hidden council probe but also described its location with frightening accuracy. The coordinates matched exactly where the probe floated. It was as if the humans had been watching from the moment it entered their system. Across the galaxy, when the council received this reply, fear rippled like a shockwave. Many shouted in disbelief. Impossible! They cannot know. Others demanded to see the data, and when they did, silence spread across the hall once again. The humans had not only answered the hidden questions but had also revealed knowledge that only a superior species should have. They had measured the probe systems, identified its power source, and even predicted the Council's intent. Their words carried a tone colder than before. If you send more machines, we will not return them. We are not prey to be studied. We are hunters who watch the forest too. The Council fell into chaos. Some demanded immediate action. Others warned that to provoke such a species might awaken something worse. The insect-winged representative shrieked, "This is proof. They are too dangerous to be left alive." But another voice, deep and ancient, replied, "No, this is proof that they are different. To detect the undetectable, to answer with such precision, this is not luck. This is instinct." On Earth, people gathered in command centers and underground facilities, watching the stars. For the first time, the governments of the world acted as one. They knew the galaxy was testing them, and they knew the galaxy would not stop. So humanity sharpened its tools, reinforced its hidden stations, and prepared for what might come. But they did not reveal all of this. They kept their silence, showing only what they wanted the galaxy to see. And in that silence was a greater threat than any weapon. The second probe, after sending back its final report, went dark. It tried to retreat, but before it could vanish into the void, a signal struck it again. It was not an attack, not a weapon, but a simple human phrase. "We see you. Always." That final message echoed across the council chamber like thunder. It was no longer the arrogance of a young race. It was the confidence of something hidden, something waiting. The council realized too late that the humans had turned the test back on them. Instead of studying Earth, the probe had been studied. Instead of measuring humans, the humans had measured them. And the galaxy began to whisper among itself, whisper words it had not spoken in ages. Perhaps the humans were not a young race at all. Perhaps they were something older, something disguised in youth, something born from fire and shadow. As the chamber debated and shouted, one truth became clear to all who listened. Earth had not been afraid. Earth had not begged. Earth had not ignored them. Earth had answered with eyes wide open. And that answer was not what the galaxy wanted to hear. The galaxy had asked a question, and Earth had answered, but the answer spread like fire across every world and every empire. Whispers filled the space lanes, and fear began to creep into the hearts of rulers who had thought themselves unshakable. The humans were young, yet their words carried the weight of an ancient predator. Civilizations that had once mocked Earth now spoke of them in hushed tones, as if saying their name too loudly might bring their gaze. Merchants traveling between systems told stories that grew darker with each retelling. They said Earth could see through shadows, that their eyes followed you even when you thought you were safe. Some claimed humans had already left their planet and built hidden colonies in the void, waiting for the day when the galaxy turned against them. The truth was uncertain, but the fear was real. Inside the council chamber, arguments turned to shouting. Some demanded that Earth be crushed before it grew too bold. Others said to leave them alone, for any move might provoke a storm the galaxy could not control. But what frightened the chamber most was not what Earth had shown, but what Earth had not shown. They had revealed no fleets, no weapons, no colonies, yet their words made the galaxy believe such things existed. It was the silence that unsettled them most. Silence was not weakness. Silence was preparation. Across smaller empires, panic took root. One planetary alliance began to build defenses, not against the Council, but against Earth itself, fearing that the humans might strike first. Another empire, once arrogant, sent secret envoys to Earth, hoping to form bonds before the storm arrived. And in the darkness of space, where no light touched, hidden networks began to ask the question no one dared speak aloud. What if humanity was already stronger than the Council believed? Reports soon reached the Council of strange movements in space. Unmarked ships, silent and fast, were seen slipping from Earth's orbit. They did not carry flags. They did not answer signals. They simply vanished into the void, leaving behind a trail of whispers. Some said they were scouts. Some said they were warships cloaked in shadows. And some whispered that Earth was not only answering the council but preparing to test the galaxy in return. The insect-winged representative screamed louder than ever, demanding war. "Do you not see? They are spreading already. They will strike when we are blind. We must strike first." His words echoed with desperation, but not everyone believed him. An ancient being with eyes like dark suns spoke again, his voice heavy and calm. "No. They are not moving with haste. They are moving with patience. Patience is not the weapon of the weak. It is the weapon of hunters. And hunters do not waste their claws unless the prey is worth the effort." His words made the chamber fall into uneasy silence. Meanwhile, in the cold corners of the galaxy, old myths were being whispered again. Long ago, there were tales of worlds that shone too brightly, that burned with fire too soon, and the galaxy had learned to step carefully around them. Some races called them death worlds, planets where survival was harder, where nature itself forged stronger beings. Now, many began to realize Earth was one of those cursed places. Its storms, its predators, its endless wars of survival, all had created something different, something sharper than the council had expected. The council began to lose control of the whispers. Fear spread faster than orders. Smaller worlds stopped listening to commands and began making their own plans. The galaxy was no longer united. It was cracking, all because of one small blue planet that had answered with fire in its voice. On Earth itself, people lived their lives as usual, but in hidden places, leaders watched carefully. They knew their message had reached far beyond their world. They knew their silence and their warnings had shaken something mighty. And deep inside, they also knew the galaxy would not leave them alone. The first probe had asked politely. The second had spied. There would be more. Humanity prepared quietly, but the galaxy screamed loudly. The council tried to bring order, but the sound of fear was stronger. And in that fear was something new, something dangerous. Fear made enemies desperate. Fear made friends betray. Fear made empires stumble into mistakes. And all of it began with a single answer from Earth. In the chamber, as the arguments rose once more, one truth became clear. Humanity had done what no young race had ever done before. They had not fired a weapon. They had not shown their strength. They had only spoken. Yet their words alone had begun to shake the galaxy apart. And as the lights dimmed in the council's golden hall, an old whisper passed between the shadows. The humans have awakened, and the galaxy has already begun to fear the storm. The storm the galaxy feared finally began to form when a powerful empire decided that Earth's words were nothing but arrogance. This empire, known for its vast fleets and long history of conquest, refused to believe that a young world could threaten them. To their rulers, humanity's warning was not wisdom but insult. They wanted to show the council and the galaxy that Earth was weak, that Earth's voice carried no weight. And so, against the pleas of cautious voices, they sent warships into the void, straight toward the solar system. The council protested, but the empire ignored them. Their fleets were enormous, their ships bristling with weapons, and their admirals laughed at the idea that humans could resist them. "We will silence their fire," one commander said. "We will burn their words before they burn the galaxy." Their ships crossed the void, each one a symbol of power, and the galaxy held its breath. Would Earth bow at last, or would Earth answer once more? As the warships entered the edge of the solar system, they expected fear, silence, or begging. Instead, they received a message. It was not long, not complex, but it carried the same fire as before. "Turn back. Do not enter our home. We have warned you once already. This is the second and final time." The commanders laughed. To them, Earth was nothing more than a planet with small satellites and primitive defenses. They ignored the message and pressed forward. Their fleets moved past the orbit of Neptune, past the cold shadows of Pluto, closer to the heart of the system where Earth waited. And then it happened. Without warning, their ships disappeared. No great battle was seen. No clash of fleets echoed across the stars. One moment the warships were there, and the next they were gone, erased as if swallowed by the void itself. The council received broken signals, cries of confusion, fragments of words. They see us. They strike. We cannot. Then silence. When the council tried to contact the fleet, there was no answer. The mighty empire that had laughed at Earth was now struck dumb. Hundreds of warships had vanished without a trace. Some believed Earth had weapons beyond understanding. Others whispered of traps hidden in space, or technology disguised until the moment of need. No one knew for certain, because Earth did not explain. The humans sent only one short message, not to the Empire, but to the galaxy itself. We warned them. They did not listen. The words were simple, but they carried a weight that shook every empire watching. Fear spread faster than light. If Earth could erase fleets in silence, what else could they do? Some suggested it was all a trick, that the Empire's fleet had been lost to some cosmic storm or accident. But the survivors, if any survived at all, never spoke, and the wreckage was never found. The void swallowed the truth, leaving only Earth's warning behind. Inside the council chamber, chaos erupted. Some demanded war, screaming that Earth must be destroyed before it was too late. Others trembled, saying war would only end with more vanished fleets. The insect-winged representative shrieked until his voice cracked, calling for fire to consume the humans. But the ancient being with eyes like dark suns spoke calmly once again. They warned us. Twice they warned us. The third time, they may not speak at all. Do you not see? They do not bluff. They do not roar. They simply act. His words silenced the chamber, for none could deny the truth. Earth had shown restraint. They had given warnings. And yet, when ignored, they had acted with precision and finality. This was not arrogance. This was control. And control was far more dangerous than rage. Across the galaxy, smaller empires began to tremble. They had once feared the Council, but now they feared Earth more. For the Council ruled with laws and threats, but Earth ruled with silence and certainty. Rumors spread that human ships had been seen moving quietly through the void, building something in the shadows, preparing for a war no one could see. Whether true or false, the fear alone was enough to change the balance of power. The empire that had lost its fleet refused to admit defeat. They shouted that Earth had cheated, that Earth had used forbidden weapons, but their anger only made them look weaker. The galaxy no longer believed in their strength. They believed in Earth's silence. On Earth itself, humanity stood calm. They did not celebrate the destruction of the fleet. They did not broadcast their victory. They simply returned to their quiet preparations. To them, it was not a victory at all. It was survival, nothing more. Yet in that survival was a message that every empire heard clearly. Earth does not bluff, and Earth does not kneel. And as the council sat in their golden hall, staring at the empty space where voices once argued, they realized the greatest mistake of all. They had ignored Earth's warning, and now they understood what it meant. Earth's words were not a threat. They were a promise. After the destruction of the Empire's fleet, the galaxy expected Earth to speak again, to boast of its power or to explain its actions, but instead Earth went silent. Days passed, then weeks, and not a single signal came from the blue planet. The silence was louder than any threat, heavier than any warning, because the galaxy did not know if Earth was preparing to strike or if Earth simply did not care. Silence meant mystery, and mystery meant danger. In the council chamber, voices that once shouted now whispered. The insect-winged representative demanded proof that Earth had acted alone, but no proof came. The Empire whose fleet had vanished searched the void endlessly, but they found no wreckage, no survivors, only empty space. Fear grew. For if Earth had weapons to erase fleets without leaving debris, what else did they hide? Some empires began to pull their fleets back from border zones, afraid to cross paths with humans in the dark. Others rushed to build alliances, whispering to one another that only unity could protect them if Earth decided to expand. But no expansion came. Earth sent no new messages, launched no invasions, and claimed no territory. The humans sat quietly on their world, watching, listening, waiting. That silence spread across the stars like a shadow. Traders told stories that Earth was no longer responding to hails, that human outposts ignored friendly signals. A few captains swore they saw human ships slip past their scanners like ghosts, but no one could prove it. The galaxy began to feel watched, as if unseen eyes studied every move. In hidden chambers, some leaders whispered that Earth had already won. Not with war, not with conquest, but with fear. Fear made empires hesitate. Fear made commanders doubt. Fear made allies turn on each other. And Earth said nothing at all. The council grew desperate. They sent envoys to Earth, carrying messages of peace, promises of respect, even offers of alliance. None returned. Their ships crossed into the solar system, and their signals vanished. It was not clear if Earth destroyed them or simply ignored them, but the result was the same: silence. The galaxy screamed for answers, but Earth gave none. And that silence became the answer itself. On Earth, governments met in hidden chambers, their leaders calm but watchful. They understood the game now. They knew the galaxy wanted to test them again, but they also knew every move they made was being studied. So humanity chose to stay quiet. To the council, that quiet looked like menace. To the empires, that quiet looked like plotting. But to humanity, silence was survival. Still, silence could not last forever. One night, deep in council space, a signal appeared. It was human, but it did not come from Earth. It came from somewhere farther, deeper in the void. The signal was faint, scattered by distance, but its meaning was clear. We are not only on Earth. We are not only in one system. We are many. We are spread. We are watching. The chamber froze when the translation was read. If it was true, then Earth was not just a single world holding back a galaxy. It was a network, a web hidden in the dark, ready to strike from places no one had seen. The insect-winged representative shrieked in fear, demanding immediate war, but others trembled too much to agree. How do you fight an enemy you cannot see? How do you fight a silence that hides teeth? Rumors exploded across the stars. Some said the humans had secret colonies in systems long abandoned. Others said they had ships moving between the stars, invisible to scanners. A few whispered that Earth was not a young race at all, but the shadow of something older, pretending to be new. And still, Earth did not explain. The silence remained, broken only by scattered signals like whispers in the night. Some were warnings. Some were promises. Some were nothing but silence stretched into sound, leaving listeners shivering without knowing why. In that silence, the galaxy fractured further. Old rivalries reignited, as empires blamed one another for Earth's rise. Fear made them restless, and Earth's quiet made them lose focus. Humanity had not fired another shot, yet the galaxy was tearing itself apart, caught between paranoia and dread. In their golden chamber, the council understood the truth too late. Earth's silence was not weakness. It was a weapon. A weapon sharper than any fleet, sharper than any cannon. Silence made the galaxy fight itself. Silence made Earth untouchable. And as they argued once more, as fear grew heavier, a final truth spread across the stars. Earth had given 2 warnings, had acted once, and now remained still. The next time Earth moved, no one doubted, it would not be to warn. It would be to end. The galaxy had asked a simple question, but the answer had grown into a storm that none could stop. Earth's silence had shaken empires, their warnings had shattered fleets, and their calm had turned into the greatest weapon of all, fear. The council sat in their golden chamber, once the heart of order, now a place of trembling voices and broken trust. Every empire watched the skies nervously, wondering when the humans would strike, wondering if the silence would break in fire. And then, one day it did. Not with weapons, not with warships, but with a signal so vast and so clear that no one could ignore it. It came not from Earth, but from a dozen different points in the galaxy, places no one knew humans had reached. The signal carried across the stars like a voice whispering in every ear at once. We are here. We have always been here. We are not one world. We are not one home. We are many, spread across the dark, and we are ready. The message froze the galaxy in place. The Council's leaders felt their hearts tighten. The humans were not waiting for the future. They were already among them, hidden, watching, preparing. Panic erupted. Some demanded war at once, others screamed for peace, and a few simply sat in silence, realizing there was no longer a choice. Humanity had already moved beyond Earth. Humanity had already become more than a single world. The insect-winged representative shrieked in fury, slamming his claws on the table. They will consume us. They will spread like fire. We must burn them now before it is too late. But his words carried no strength anymore. Too many had seen fleets vanish. Too many had heard the silence. And now, too many had realized the humans were not bluffing. In the middle of the chamber, the ancient being with eyes like dark suns rose slowly. His voice was quiet, but it carried farther than the screams. Do you not understand? They do not want our chains. They do not want our crowns. They want only respect. We asked them to bow, and they answered with fire. We sent spies, and they answered with silence. We sent fleets, and they answered with disappearance. And now, they tell us the truth. We are no longer deciding their future. They are deciding ours. His words settled like a shadow over the chamber. For the first time in ages, the Council knew it had lost control. And at that very moment, Earth spoke again. Another signal spread across the galaxy, clear and sharp, impossible to block. We survived everything our world gave us. We survived ourselves. We survived the dark. We will not kneel. We will not beg. We will not hide. To those who respect us, we offer peace. To those who raise chains, we offer fire. This is our final word. The message ended, and silence returned. But the silence was no longer the same. It was heavier now, final, like the closing of a door. Empires across the galaxy sat frozen. Some felt relief that the humans had offered peace. Others felt terror at the promise of fire. But all of them understood the truth. Earth had not asked for permission to stand among the stars. Earth had declared its place, and no power could deny it. In the days that followed, the galaxy shifted. Some empires rushed to send messages of friendship, desperate to stand on the side of peace. Others began to withdraw their fleets, afraid of being the next to vanish. The proud empire that had lost its warships fell into silence, its rulers broken, their pride shattered. And the Council itself, once the master of decisions, now sat powerless, forced to listen instead of command. On Earth, humanity continued as it always had, quietly, steadily, building, preparing. They did not boast of their power. They did not celebrate their fear. They only moved forward, step by step, carrying their history, their scars, their unbroken spirit. For them, the galaxy was not a prize. It was simply the next test, the next challenge to survive. But the galaxy would never see them the same again. To the empires, to the Council, to all who had once thought Earth a fragile young world, humanity was now something else entirely. They were a storm in the dark, a fire in the silence, a force that had risen from struggle and refused to fall. And though the Council tried to meet again, though voices tried to argue and plan, all their words carried the same shadow. The galaxy had asked Earth to answer a probe. Earth had answered. And their answer was not what anyone wanted to hear. It was a warning, a promise, and a truth that would echo across the stars forever. Humanity does not kneel.